Hi everybody, welcome back to another video of our fighting game course. Today we're going to be working on our hit system. So we're finally going to be able to apply some damage to our opponent and receive damage ourselves. So we're going to start by adding a simple square sprite. I named it SPR hit, make sure it's centered, and we're going to create a hit object which has the that sprite that we created. Okay, so pretty simple stuff. Now the idea that I'm gonna be using is that whenever we attack, we're gonna create this hit object. We're gonna give it an ID so that it has like different IDs from any other hit object, and when it collides with the player, we're gonna reduce its HP. So it's pretty simple stuff, but we just need to time to get the exact time when do we want to create this hit and where do we want to create it. So let's take a look at one of my sprites. Okay, let's actually take a look at a different character because this one is a little bit special. Now let's take a look at a simple punch attack. Okay, so this is a simple punch, right? Nothing too fancy. So you need to time at which index of this frame you want to create the hit. Now in my case, it's most likely that I'm going to create the hit when this index plays. Okay, so I'm gonna play the animation, and when we reach this index, I want to create my hit right here. Alright, let's take a look at a different sprite. Okay, so with this animation, I want to create my hit, for example, right around here. Okay, so you can see that each character has a range. So this could be like I can't measure it, but kind of like 60, maybe 60 range in this attack. So that was pretty simple, right? But now let's take a look at a different character. I told you that this character doesn't use kicks, it only uses punches. Even like this K1 attack is really just a punch. So this is like a jab or whatever you call it. I don't know what do you call these kind of moves, but you get the point. So in this case, maybe we want to create the hit around here. But let's take a look at a different attack from this character. I think it's supposed to be like P2. Okay, let's take a look at this. So you can see this is kind of a 2 attacks sprite. So she hits a quick punch now at the start. So this is like a hit, and then there is another hit around here. So this animation has 2 hits, not only just one. So we're gonna need to be able to make a system that can handle multiple hits in the same animation. Alright, so let's start by creating some variables. Now, or sorry, before we do any of that, we're gonna create a script and we're gonna call it hit manager, or whatever creative name you can think of, doesn't really matter. So in this case, we're gonna do our simple logic. So we're gonna switch our state, and let's take a look at our state. So we have an attack state and a throw state. So these are states that can be used to attack the enemy, right? So let's go back to our state manager or hit manager. So now you're gonna need to loop through every case where your character is playing an animation of hitting or doing some combo or whatever your character does. I'm gonna start by our simple attack state. So state attack, we're gonna break. So what do we need to check here? As I said, we need to check for our sorry, I need to grab an attack sprite. So we need to loop through every index here and check which index do we need to create that attack. So in this frame, for example, we want to use the second index. Now, because this is 0, 1, and 2. So this is like the number 2 index. Okay, skip back to our hit manager. So now we just really need to look at our image index, right? So check for image index, and then create the hit object. But we cannot check for our image index yet because we're gonna need to create some variables. So let's go to our handle sprites script, and these are the attacks sprites, right? Now what we need to do is to create an array just like this one, except this one is gonna be attack indexes, or hit indexes, doesn't really matter. I'm gonna name it attack indexes. So how do we need to fill how do we want to fill this attack indexes? Well, basically each attack of these ones will have an attack index. So let's take a look at this one, SPRKOP1. Okay, let's take a look at it. Attack, where is the P1 attack? Alright, so let's take a look at it. So with this sprite, I want the hit to be played when we reach this index. Now again, this is the second index, so it starts from 0, 1, 2. I want to create it when I reach this index. So I'm gonna I'm gonna add a variable to that array, and I'm gonna mark the index. So this should be the second index. Now let's take a look at another one, SPRKOP2. Now again, let's take a look at it. Let's mark the index. So this is kind of like the fourth index. Okay. Hit manager, handle sprites, and this was the fourth index, right? And you're basically gonna have to do the same thing for every attack, for every position. Okay. But here's the thing. As I said, we need to come up with a system that can handle multiple hits with the same animation. So let's take a look at, for example, this character right here. So P2, for example, attack P2. So this character is gonna have, its array. It's called attack hit indexes, or what did I call it? Attack indexes, I think. Okay. Now with this character, so I'm gonna skip the first one. Okay. Let's take a look at this animation, SPR Vanessa P2. Where is it? P2. Okay, it's taken a while. Alright. So this character, as I said, uses 2 hits with the same animation. So this is like the first index and the 5th index. So what we need to do is, instead of using like a single variable, so handle sprite, we're gonna use an array for this frame. So we're gonna use the first index and the 4th one. Okay. So in order to make every case work with this system, we need to convert these to arrays as well. So this should be like an array with a single variable called 2. And this should be another array 4, and you're gonna have to do it for every animation. So I'm gonna skip this part to not waste any time, and I'm gonna quickly check my animations and fill in these attack indexes, and I'm gonna get back in a bit. Hi everybody, I'm back now. As you can see, I finished the setting up the variables for each attack, and so here's how it looks. I used the same variable for both the throws in my state that I've added, and the other variables for the other character. So if you want to copy mine, or if you're using like the same sprite, then feel free to copy them. Alright, so now that we have this done, let's go to our, let me minimize that. So now we can go to our hit manager, and now we can start checking for the image indexes. So now we need to check, well, we have 3 states here. Are we on the ground? Alright, otherwise that means we are in the air. another case here is, are we ducking? Else. Okay, so what happens if we are ducking? In this case, we're going to use the duck indexes. In this case, we're going to be using the normal indexes, and here we're going to check the air indexes. Oops, let me comment this out. Okay, so now we need to grab the indexes themselves. So how are we going to do that? Well, let's take a look at our handle sprite. So let's say that we are in the idle state and we press the attack button. Well, we can grab like this array depending on which attack we so let's say that we pressed P1, okay, and we already have like this attack type thing, so we can easily grab these arrays using the macros, right? And then we're gonna loop through every index in this array and compare it with the image index and create the hits if we can. Alright, so let's start doing that by going to the hit manager. So in this case we are in the duck state. So we're gonna, it's not a state but it's just a variable. So in here we're gonna say if image, or sorry, we're gonna use the round of image index equals so we have like the duck indexes, attack duck indexes. Now this is like a two dimensional array, right? So we need to grab this, or sorry, let's do it like a better way. So we're gonna check for indexes. We're gonna create another variable, and this is gonna be hit or attack duck indexes. What did I call it? Attack duck indexes. Alright, attack type. Alright, now attack type is like gonna be either one of these macros, P1, P2, Q1, Q2. So we can easily grab the type of the attack that we are executing. Okay, now we need to loop through for int I, or sorry, var I equals 0. I is less than array length, because this is an array, right? Array length 1D, indexes. Okay, I plus plus. Now in this case we're gonna loop through every index and check if it's the same as our image index. So if round image index equals indexes dot I, then in this case we want to create the hit. So just to make it a little bit simple and you see what's going on, I'm gonna just say var b equals, or hit h equals instance create layer, and I'm just gonna spawn it on top of our player. So obj hit, or sorry, this should be instances. Okay, instances like this. Oops. And I'm gonna do the same thing for the normal state. Okay, except that this is gonna be attack indexes. Alright, same thing, and same thing here, except this is gonna be air indexes. Okay, and now we're gonna just add the create event here in the hit. What's happening? Okay, let's add the create event, and obviously we don't want the head to stay on the field, so I'm gonna add an alarm 0, which is gonna be room speed divided by 10, and the alarm 0 I wanna destroy this object. So okay, let me save this and I'm gonna run the game. Oops, no, wait. Before the game, oh my god, my computer is lagging. Okay. So before we run the game, we obviously need to call the script, right? So after our animation controller, I'm gonna call the hit manager and call the script here. So hit manager. Okay. Oops, why did I? Okay, that was weird. Alright, so let's run the game now and see if things are working fine. The only thing that we have to do now is adjust the X offset, so like the range and the height of the hit, and we should be good. Alright, so now that the game has finished compiling, let's take a look at it, and hopefully we won't get any errors. Okay, so I'm gonna use alright, okay. Okay, so it looks like everything is working just fine. As you can see, the hit gets spawned at the same or at the correct time, depending on you know, which attack we're doing. So that's pretty good. Even though like this character uses so this is one animation, right? So it uses 2 indexes of the animation, but yeah, so things are working fine, I would say. Now the only thing that we need now is to adjust you know, the range of it and the height of the hit. So the way that I'm gonna do that is by adding a variable called range, and also we're gonna maybe measure the height ourselves. So let me just check the okay, so it's working. Alright, so now we're gonna have to, well, first of all, let me just get rid of this, that thing that we did from the previous tutorial, so we don't want that anymore. Well, I was thinking maybe the head is actually, I think it's too big, so I'm gonna reduce the size of it. Yeah, maybe 16 would be much better. So maintain the aspect ratio. Yeah, okay. Alright, so now I'm gonna add the script. I'm gonna name it CreateHit. Okay, and so let's go to our object here, and in the create event, let's add some variables. So we need an ID, which is, oops, then we can't use the ID, we can use underscore ID. It's gonna be -1, and owner equals no one. So the ID is just like a unique number, so that we can tell if like the same hits are created from the same animation or not, or from the same index or not. And the owner is just like the player that has created this array, and so that when we collide with it, we're gonna check if it's ours, then we don't need to apply damage to ourselves. That doesn't make any sense. And effect, which is gonna be no one for now, because hits are going to have some special effects. For example, you want like some hits to maybe knock out your enemy. Maybe you want to create like a powerful hit that can knock out the enemy, maybe knock it up. And some hits don't do anything except damage. So speaking of damage, we're gonna need a variable called damage. And let's go with 4. We can change this later depending on the hit, but we're not gonna do it now. Okay. Now let's go over to our player. Let's add a simple collision event. So collision with obj hit. So now we need to check if other.owner equals self. Then in this case we want to exit. We don't want to damage ourselves. Otherwise we can damage the player. So we're gonna say HP minus equals other dot damage, and with other instance destroy, because we don't want the bullet to stay, or sorry, the we don't want the head to stay on the field anymore, right? Okay, that's pretty much it. So let's get back to our create hit. In here we're gonna say var hit h equals instance create object or layer. Okay, so let's leave the x and y for now, and let's go instances and obj hit. Okay, so this script will need an owner, so it's just gonna be argument 0, if I can spell it correctly. Okay, so now we're gonna set the owner of this hit object to owner. Okay, h.effect to effect. I'm gonna create this variable in a bit. h.damage equals damage. And actually we're gonna need another variable called offset. So we're gonna need a variable called x offset. There's gonna be x offset and a y offset. Okay, so let's create these variables. So we're gonna need an effect, damage, x offset, and y offset. So the effect, as I said, is gonna be like some special effect that are gonna empower the head. For example, if we give the head a knock-up effect, then that means when we punch or when we hit our enemy, we're gonna knock it up and maybe apply some extra damage and stuff. So the x offset is just a variable to keep the distance between. It's kind of like the range, yeah, just like a range. So, and the y offset is like the height of the head relatively to the player. Okay, now these are going to be well, the effect is gonna be argument 1. The damage will be argument 2. So we have the x offset argument 3, y offset argument 4. Alright, so now we can do something like this. So we get back to our hit manager and replace this by create hit. Okay, so the owner is self. The damage, let's go with 4 for now. What else do we have? So we have the x offset and y offset, and the effect. So the effect is actually the second type or parameter, so we won't give any hit any effect for now. And the x offset, well, let's add another variable for the player. It's gonna be range and hit height, or no. So in this case, if we are ducking, we know that we want the hit to be low. So let's go for with maybe 30. Okay. And you know what? I'm not going to create this variable. Maybe we're gonna do it in the next tutorial, but for now I'm gonna go with 50 as a range for each character. Okay. And we're gonna replace this by actually, this needs to be like times sine of our image axis scale. Yeah, because if we are facing the right direction, we need the x offset to be positive. Otherwise, we want it to be negative. So, yeah. So in this case, we are standing still. So the height will be something like, let me check the height of our character. So idle sprite, um, so almost like 50, I would say. Let's get back to the hit manager. So if this is 50, maybe the low hit should be something like 20, right? And for the air attack, I'm gonna go with 50, and yeah, same thing with the range. So now we just need to update our hit object to follow the player. So add event step. Okay, now the only thing we're gonna do here is x equals owner owner.x plus x offset. Same thing with the y, so y equals owner the y plus y offset. So just to make the bullet, or sorry, the hit follow the player. Okay, let's run the game one more time and see how things are working. Okay, so now that the game has compiled, let's run it again. Okay. No, what's wrong? Doesn't look like it's working. Oh, no, actually, the problem is that yeah, I think I forgot to, yeah, okay. Uh, well, yeah, let's go with x plus x offset and y plus y offset. But I also, oops, I can't type. Okay, this also needs to be, sorry, so in the head step event, this should be minus, yeah, it should be minus head effect, and I think that's pretty much it. Okay, so I'm gonna run the game one more time, hopefully for the last time. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, we may need to change the height a little bit, but at least it's working. Okay, there's definitely something wrong here. Okay, so these are working just fine, right? Now when we jump, we still have like these other so I think we're gonna increase the height a little bit, and at least actually if they damage the opponent, yeah, they obviously damage the opponent, but you can see that we're applying more damage than we should have done because we're creating a lot of hits at the same time. So we're gonna fix this in the next video, but for now I'm just going to change the height here to something like 80. Yeah, 80 should be better. But that was it for today, guys. I'm not gonna make this video too long. So in the next video we're gonna be adding more features to our hit system, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care and peace.